Hello, everyone, and welcome to I Am Not Okay with Day. I am your host, Day. And today we are joined once again by the beautiful Mel B. Welcome.
Hey, hi. Good afternoon.
Last week or whenever the last episode was, we mentioned that Mel's going to be here for the next couple episodes. And so here she is. And I am very, very excited for what is about to come. Strap in, y'all. You're not ready, but get ready. We're going to give
That
you some
part.
time. We're going to talk about things that made us feel some type of way so you can get yourself together. And then we're going to jump into a topic that I think is so relevant for me, and I know relevant for a lot of people listening. So, Mel, do you want to start us off? Tell us what made you feel some type of way this
Yes.
last week.
All right. So honestly, it's been going on for the past month, but you got to get your routine dental
Mhm.
care and all that stuff in place, right? And so I had this procedure done, and the procedure was supposed to only be like a one time, like, okay, you go in, you get it done, and then you come back, and then it's the final visit. That's not what happened for me. So I've had to like literally every single week for the past month go back and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry. They sent us
No.
the wrong measurements." And so
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
I know. And so I was getting frustrated because not only like did it cut into my workout time and my, work time, like I always had to figure out a way to like accommodate like going in, and it was
Mhm.
very frustrating. But I was like,
Yeah.
I'm working again. I'm working on myself. And so I'm learning like when things don't go your way, like try not to overreact,
Mhm.
and just be like, okay, well, it's not your fault. Like they sent over the wrong measurements. Like I guess I'll be back. Like, just call
Mhm.
me when you guys are ready to see me again. And so
Yeah.
this past week they called me again. And I was a little irritated because I was just like, please, y'all don't waste no more of my time. I need this to be the last visit. Do you know if this is the right measurement so we can get into this chair and be done so I can move on with my life and eat what I want to eat? Because I want to eat what I want. I love food. I want to eat what I want to eat. So anyways, it actually worked out, and I'm so happy, and because it worked out, God is even greater because I end up getting $100 back because of
Okay.
convenience. Yeah, I was like, "Go ahead, yes."
Come
So I
on.
didn't overreact. I didn't, I just was they were very grateful for how patient I was and how understanding I was, even though I was very frustrated. But it's
Mhm.
like, what am I supposed to do? They're doing their
Yeah.
part. It's not their fault that the lab sent the wrong stuff. So that had me feeling some type of way. But the type of way that I feel now is really, really good. Like, really good that I'm proud of how I handled it. And because of how I handled it, I was rewarded. So yeah, I'm
Amen.
all
We love
good.
it.
Yeah.
I love it. We love a
Yeah.
lesson. We love when things can turn
Mhm.
itself around.
Yeah, it did.
I love that. Well, girl, my some type of way.
Oh, no.
Lately I've just been feeling attacked by my Instagram algorithm. Like, okay, you know how
Oh,
you're on Instagram, right? And you know how they started doing this thing where they be showing you posts and things that like are not of people that you're following, but I
yeah.
guess based on things that you've watched in the past or something, they'll show you different things. And so, girl, do you know what's been popping like literally over this past week? What has been popping up for me?
I
I've
can
been
only
see
imagine.
I'm gonna bait my own senile right now, but basically I'm getting
Oh, no.
so many posts on Instagram right now about singleness. It's like
Ooh.
people talking about don't worry about being single. And there's all this like different kind of like messaging about being single, and I'm like, Instagram, what are you trying to tell me? Like, you're just out here attacking me for my singleness. Like,
What?
what are we doing? Like,
Oh.
it's crazy though, because like I've not really given thought to my singleness really,
Mhm.
until recently. So I'm like, who is listening to my thoughts? Who is listening to my conversations? Why are you showing me these
It does that.
things?
It does that.
It
It
does.
does that.
But you know what? I have been seeing some very helpful things. So I think we can turn it around too. I think God is in everything, even in the Instagram
Mhm.
algorithm. And
Mhm.
I've been receiving very helpful messages. And so
Yeah.
I'm gonna take it. okay, and not take it as an attack.
Yeah. It's not, honey, like, today's topic is on time.
Okay, and that is a perfect segue because
Mhm.
that had me thinking too. The fact that today, okay, let's just let the people know.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
y'all, today we're going to focus on self-love.
Let me get my notes together because 'cause I'm
Get the
ready.
notes, honey, get the notes. I think this is so relevant. I just talked about singleness, which that's a whole nother
Yeah.
topic.
Yeah.
But today we are going to talk about self-love because I think it's so imperative for all of
Yeah.
us, especially for me,
Absolutely.
my journey, of healing. I've actually, I, I've recently been more intentional about loving myself. And so it was so
Mhm.
amazing when Mel and I were talking and we were like, what are we going to do? What are we going to talk about? And she was just bringing,
I was ready.
she was bringing it. And I said, okay, I
Mhm.
receive it. Let
Mhm.
us give it to the world so they can receive it also.
As well,
So,
yes.
Mel, take it away, girl. Tell us what have you discovered in your self love journey?
Yeah. So, first off, like, where do I start? Right. So in 2022, as I shared with you, that's the year I ended up like pretty much falling in love with myself. And as I said, falling in love with myself led me to falling in love with God. Well,
Mhm.
honestly, because I fell in love with God, I was able to fall in love with myself. Let's be honest.
Mhm.
Let's be real.
Mhm. Yep.
And so I didn't know like when I was thinking about my past and honestly, like I've been reflecting on our conversation since. And even today, I was thinking, like, I never had the opportunity to have time to myself to understand
Mm.
who I am as a person.
Yeah.
Because from birth, we are the responsibility of our caregivers. And
Right.
then after caregiving, right, you go off to college and you have roommates and things. And then after roommates, like I moved off and I still kind of had roommates, but then I ended up in relationships. And so then we moved in together and I only had like a small period where I kind of had my place to myself, but
Mhm.
not really. I've always had somebody around me in my ear, in my space, and I never felt comfortable like being like, hey, I never made it about me. I've always
Yeah.
made it about
Yeah.
the other person. So
Yeah.
all those years have passed, and it wasn't up until I left and moved out of state and then got into my own space. And I think I told you, like, the first step was choosing me. That was like literally the first step. I had to make a choice. I never
Mm.
chose me in all my years. I always chose people. I've always
Yeah.
chose like family, friends, to show up for them, but I never chose to show up for me.
Mm.
So that was
Mm.
the first step in building the
Yeah.
relationship with myself was to choose me. And then I found out when I chose me, it linked me to my relationship with God,
Mm.
which I said
Okay, I'm
before.
so intrigued though because the act of choosing yourself, like what does
Yeah,
that
it's
really look like?
huge.
Yes. What does that look like? Like,
Yeah,
practically speaking, making that decision to choose yourself versus other people.
I
How do you
know.
do that?
It was honestly the hardest thing ever because I was, in a relationship. I was at a job that, like, let's be real, like the school board, you don't leave in the middle of the school year, right?
Mhm,
Like
mhm.
I always think of, right? I'm trying to get away from absolutes, but that was my life up until now.
Yeah.
I always considered other people and other things. Like, remember, like us working together. I was like,
Mhm.
but what about, and I have clients
Yeah.
and right? And you were like, and everybody else, like, they're gonna be okay. Like, there's gonna be another clinician that's gonna come in. All your notes are up to date. You can let people know what they need to know to pick up where you left off. But if you're not happy here, like your responsibility is for yourself,
Mhm.
to yourself. And so I did, I chose me. That was like the first time because growing up, we learned work ethic is you just stay at that job no matter
Right.
what. Like, that was me. I mean, the new generation, they don't care.
They are not about it. They are
They
out
do
of
not
there.
care.
One
They're
red
like,
flag, they gone.
they out. Honest, I really wish I remember what I read about millennials because we were in the middle of all this. Like, we
Mhm.
got,
Mhm.
values and ethics and things from our, elders and stuff, but then we got some youngness going on there with but
With the Gen Zs.
yeah, the Gen Zs. Yeah, like, that's there, but we're, like, in the middle of all that, and I realized that I was torn between, like, do I Gen Z this or do I millennial this thing? Like, do I ride it
Right.
out? So anyway, so choosing me was like listening to my heart and my soul and my
Mhm.
spirit. Like, what is rattled right now? I'm not settled. I'm not happy. First of all, I had to admit I wasn't happy.
That
I
part.
wasn't happy. That was the
That
hardest thing.
part. Wow.
That was the
Mhm.
hardest thing to admit. I was like, Mel, you're not happy.
Mhm.
And it was nobody's fault but mine. Like, I don't want to be at this job anymore.
Yeah.
And it was only like, I was like, but maybe you could stick it out till May, like June, like maybe you could. No, choosing me was saying, no,
Mhm.
I'm gone. This is enough. I've had enough. I can't. I can't go
Mhm.
on anymore. It's becoming a disservice to me. It's becoming a disservice to my future goals and plans. And so I had to find out my worth, Like, I had to literally say to myself, girl, you are worth it. You are worth choosing. You are worth taking a risk and saying, you can make this happen. You don't need anybody. Like, I
Mhm.
didn't need, like, I was scared. You know how you leave a job and you're like, oh, I might need them for a reference.
Right.
I was so bold in my walk with God. Like, after I found out, well, once my friend said to me, well, you say you have faith, right? This is where you test it. You're
Mhm.
choosing you, so that's when I, said, okay, no matter how ugly it looks right now, no matter how uncomfortable it is right now, no matter that people didn't see what I saw because they're just like, girl, where you, how you just gonna come back and say you're moving to a whole nother state with no plan or nothing? And I'm like, I trust God. Like,
Mhm.
I trust him. And so I have to choose me. Choosing me meant muting the world, not caring what anybody had to say, because I had people in my ears, but that was
Yeah.
only because I allowed them because I said too much. I was supposed to keep that to
Mhm.
myself.
Mhm.
And I didn't. It is what it is. You learn,
Yeah.
you live and you
Yeah.
learn. So choosing me was not caring what anybody had to say, not
Mhm.
caring what society says about what you're supposed to do. Oh, you're supposed to be at this job for a year or 2 years. I serve a God. I don't care. Like,
Mhm.
I used to care, but it's like once you learn who you serve, it's like he got me. I trust that
Right.
he has me. So I have to choose me because me, like, no one knows but you. Like, only you know
Mhm.
your experience. You know where you are.
Yeah.
You know how you feel. And I knew where I was in my relationship with God. So I trusted that enough and I took that risk. Like,
Yeah.
we say risk, but I honestly say faith. Like, I took a leap out on faith.
Mhm.
That's when I literally found out what my relationship was like with God because he said, you trust me, right? Well, let's go. It was the
Mhm.
scariest thing. That's all I can say. It
Yeah.
was just really scary. And even when it's so noisy on the outside, there was so much peace on the inside. And I had a friend tell me if it brings you peace, you made the right decision. And that
Mm.
was the
Mhm.
best thing I could hear because I was like, it did.
Yeah.
All of this is bringing me peace.
Yeah.
So it was enough
You
to
know,
choose me.
yeah. That's making me think about, like, what knowing yourself,
Yeah.
because you made a really important point, like, you had to admit to yourself that you were not happy. You
Yeah,
had
that was
to
hard.
come to terms with what was gonna make you happy. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of times, unfortunately, we get sucked in, like you said, to societal pressures, all these different things. So where we don't even know what we want and what is gonna make us happy. And I think
Mhm.
it's so important to know yourself. And
Yeah.
it's interesting that you talked about being by yourself because I think, especially just in the way that life is right now, it's so easy to get caught up in work and just like the busyness and
Yeah.
the roles that you don't even take
Mhm.
time to figure it out. And honestly, I feel like I'm going through that right now. Actually, I feel
Mhm.
like I'm in this place where I have the most time to myself
Mm.
I've
Mhm.
ever had, really, where
Mhm.
I'm not like super busy with work and I'm not, and I'm giving myself the time and the permission to
Yes.
figure out what do I want and what am I
Yes.
feeling and what's going on. And like you said, it is a hard thing to do
It
because full
is.
transparency, your girl had a lot of breakdowns this last week. Okay.
Oh.
But you know what? I was bawling my eyes out last night,
Mhm.
bawling and crying. But then
Yeah.
what I realized is I couldn't have done this a year ago, 2 years ago, because I didn't have the space and the time to do so. And now, in
Mhm.
God's perfect timing, I
Mhm.
have the space to figure out what I'm feeling and feel it and
Yeah.
cry and whatever. And I think this is a space where I'm getting to know myself.
Yep.
I'm not there yet, girl. I'm not there yet, but
But
I'm
you're on
on
your
the
way.
journey
Yeah.
of choosing myself, and
So proud of
I
you.
love that point. Yeah.
And you said something that's so important, and you, like, beat me right to the punch.
Oh.
You gave yourself permission.
Mm,
We don't give ourselves
no.
permission. We, like I
Yep.
that is just the root of it, to be honest. We don't give ourselves permission to feel, and that was one of my points. So I'll just kinda go down the list of first choosing you, knowing your values, setting boundaries, creating that space, right, to come undone, giving yourself permission, and that comes with soul care, which we'll talk about, and then the final step that we can hopefully wrap up and talk about is focus on becoming. Yes, I'm over here looking at my notes. Focus on becoming and cultivating a space within that is safe. So I'm
Mhm.
hoping that we can talk about all of that because you literally like laid it all out. You laid it all out and I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
But it is a hard thing to know that like that's what it looks like to be in relationship with yourself, to be honest. Like you don't have a partner. Your partner is you in Christ. Like your
Mhm.
partner is God. You don't have like a physical, like, hey, like it's me and you.
Mhm.
Like you actually walk around your space. Like you say, you have so much more time to yourself. And it's just like, if you mad at anybody, it's you. If you're frustrated with anybody, it's you. Why
Just
are
me
you
and
in your
myself in the
feeling?
mirror.
Yeah. But then I also learned that to be in a relationship with yourself is to um display the things that you would display or want somebody to return to you in a relationship. So let me try to explain that a little
Mm.
bit more.
Uh-huh.
So like
Uh-huh.
I've had to learn how to like if I did something, this is what I mean by give yourself permission. If I did something, I would feel so bad and so guilty. I had to learn forgiveness. I'm like, I've been in all these relationships, girl. Like you've been in all these relationships and you don't even know how to forgive yourself. And you want people to forgive you and you forgive them. Like I didn't even know how to do these things.
Mm.
Trust. I didn't even
Mhm.
know what trust felt like until I started trusting myself, building trust within myself, even with God. Like, I was like, girl, your relationship with God is not what it, no, you are wrong. And then love, the thing that we literally use in our relationships to ground us. Be like,
Mhm.
love is enough. It's really not. And honestly, I didn't even know love until I fell in love with myself. I never knew love. I
Wow.
know. Let me,
Wow.
girl,
Yep. Speak on
girl,
it.
this journey of self and singleness, like I was hearing you say, like all these things are coming up about singleness.
Mhm.
I thank God for my singleness. I really thank God
Yes.
because I'm gaining so much. I get an opportunity to do it right. Whereas some people, they're so far in deep into
Mhm.
their situation that they can't even get out. I got a chance to get out. That which was bold. It was honestly hard because I cared about the person I was with so much. I didn't want to hurt them, but I end up
Mhm.
having to
Mhm.
hurt them by choosing me.
Yeah.
I didn't want to because I wasn't happy and it had at the time, you would think it had something to do with them, but it was me, as I
Mhm.
said before.
Mhm.
I wasn't happy within myself. I didn't understand the capacity of trust. I didn't understand love. I didn't understand my relationship with God. When you have all these unhealed, unlearned things about yourself, how can you be in relationship with
Mhm.
somebody else? So
Mhm.
I literally give every single person in my life a pass. My history a pass, because I never stopped to get it for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
really love that. I remember when I used to work in the eating disorder facility, that was something we always would talk about, how to give yourself what you need instead of
mhm.
relying on other people for that.
Yeah.
I think
Mhm.
that is monumental because
Yeah.
we we rely on other people, not just even for the permission, but for that like external validation that
Mhm.
what we're doing is okay, that what we're doing is good. And I just actually was thinking about this the other day, like this morning, actually. When
Yeah.
I was in my past relationships, I think that a big problem is that my value was through the lens of how this person
Mm.
valued me.
Yeah.
So, based on how this person is valuing me and treating me, that was making me think, okay, then I feel good about myself versus no, I feel good about myself. And so
Right.
then this
That's
person is
how it should
showing,
be.
right, this person shows value as they should, and I'm accepting it as they should. It
Mhm.
kind of reminds me too. Do you know of Tank and the Bangers? Like she did a poem, that went, like, viral on TikTok,
Mm.
that said, "This boy in my DM say I'm
Oh,
pretty." You know
yes.
that one? Okay.
Yeah, this boy in my DM say
He say,
I'm
"I'm
pretty.
pretty." And
Yes.
then at the end, she said, "I wonder if he knows I've been new." Like,
Right.
I've been
Yeah, that
new.
was so beautiful.
It was beautiful, but I think the thing that connected so much for me is, like, and I'm not there yet, but this is what I'm working on, like, my cousin said the other day, I said something about her, like I complimented her outfit or something, and she's like, "I know," and I'm like, "Okay," but yeah, it sounds crazy, but it's like, yeah, I know I'm pretty, I know I'm this. Like you're not
Right.
telling me anything I haven't told myself, and I
Myself,
think there is
yeah.
value not just in like those external things, obviously, but
Yeah.
also like when you believe that
Mhm,
you are fully
mhm,
worth it, when you
mhm.
believe that you are the prize,
Yeah,
no one else can make you feel that way. So when the person comes and goes, you still feel like you're the prize. And
period.
I think that my problem has been some way along the way, I didn't feel like I was the prize, and that
Mhm,
person made me
mhm,
feel like the prize. So then that
mhm.
person left.
You
It's like
lost your
I
prize.
lost it. And
Yeah.
it's like, no, honey.
No, yeah, you're still the prize. Like, what you mean?
Yes, I'm still out
That's
here.
so
Come get me.
true. And honestly, I wanna throw in a little bit of our expertise in here because you said the key
Yes.
word, which is belief. And so that takes me back to core beliefs. Like, this is
Right.
something that we teach our clients in CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy.
Mhm.
When you have a core belief, like a center of yourself, like, for example, let's say, I am not worthy. There's 3 things that we automatically do without even thinking. We accept, reject, or modify information to make sure that it aligns with our core beliefs. So, for example,
Mhm.
I'm going to accept any information that confirms that I'm not worthy. And then I'm going to reject any information that says otherwise. And I'm also going to modify information to make sure it integrates with the belief that I'm not worthy. And
Mhm.
so, no matter who you're with, right? And that's the weirdest thing is like we have these beliefs within ourselves that don't even align with the life that we're living. Like
Mm.
literally, if I feel like I'm not worthy, but yet I'm in a relationship, so am I worthy enough for a relationship? But then that person can say things to me and I project onto them because I still don't believe I'm worthy. Like, why are you with me? Like you
Mhm.
start saying
Mhm.
things like, I
Yeah.
don't know. You're just probably with me because I'm pretty or, but I
Mhm.
still believe that I'm not worthy enough despite how I look or whatever. But if you don't fix the core beliefs within yourself, it doesn't matter a job, relationship,
Mhm.
you're still going to feel those things and you're still going to automatically accept, reject, and modify information that way that aligns with your core beliefs. So if you want to
Mhm.
change anything about yourself, which takes me to the idea where people say, like, I have the job, I have this, I have that, but I'm still unhappy within myself. I always say, well, I wonder what your core beliefs are. What do you believe about yourself? Because if you really believe that you are worthy of those things, you would connect to that.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then that tells me like there's some things within yourself that you have to change.
Mhm.
So that,
I'm happy you brought that up because
mhm.
again, it comes back to knowing yourself and knowing what those
Exactly.
beliefs are. Like,
Exactly.
I think a lot of us don't even know what we believe about
No,
ourselves. And we just like
no.
go about living our
Yeah.
lives, like
Hmm.
you said, very incongruent to what is actually actually happening, and then we find ourselves unhappy. I
Yeah.
think too, what I've just loved in my healing journey is the opportunity to do therapy and to figure out those
Mhm.
core beliefs. And I think a big problem, at least one of my problems, has been that the value. What is the
Yeah.
value placed on? I think I valued myself based on meeting like certain expectations, kind of like we
Yeah,
talked about
yeah.
before. And so it didn't matter that I was happy, just that I was doing what everybody said you should do. Right.
Yeah.
And as soon as I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, then I started feeling bad about myself because there never was like a separation of like who I see myself as versus who
Mhm.
either my parents, the church, my partner, whatever saw me as,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's really hard to figure that out, to like to figure out what it
Yeah.
is that you believe in about yourself and to
Mhm.
get down to that core, the core belief, you know?
Yeah.
So
It
I'm
is
really
hard.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm really grateful that I was able to do therapy, and I'm still in that journey because I think like hearing you talk about not being worthy and not being enough. I
Mhm.
think I have a core belief that I'm not enough. I
Mm.
think that it and I don't know where it started from. I'm still figuring it out. But I think that
Yeah.
my marriage, that core belief felt like it was
Mhm.
being perpetuated, like it was being
Yeah.
confirmed
Yeah,
through, again,
reinforced.
reinforced the way that my
Mhm.
partner was treating me and the way that things were happening. It
Yeah.
felt like a confirmation, like, yeah, yeah, you're not enough. You're not enough. And so
Mm.
it's so hard because it does something to your brain. Like
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't think I always believed that, but I think when you have an insecurity especially, and then
Mhm.
it other things are reinforcing it, your brain then starts to tell you, "Yep, that's because you did this, like,
Right.
it's your fault, like, it's because you
Yeah.
deserve this," all this kinda stuff, and, I think there's a lot of people out there who have these kind of core beliefs too
Yeah.
that they don't even
They
realize
don't even
are
realize.
shaping the way that they
Exactly. Yeah.
live,
And
you
like you
know?
said, you don't even know where you picked them up from, like, you have to dig deep to find out where
Exactly.
did you learn that? And it could be, honestly, the little things, like,
Mhm,
like, I remember doing a session with a client, and they shared with me, like, a conversation that they had with somebody, and from there, that it stuck with them at a young age, and
mhm.
I'm like, "That you and would have been overlooked this whole entire
Right.
time." But because we took our time to dig deep and just think and reflect, like, when you have this feeling, where does it come from? But
Mhm,
that's where those automatic thoughts come from as well,
mhm.
like, your core beliefs are like a filter that your thoughts literally stem from. And so, like you said, like, because of how you felt and the reinforcements that you got in your environment, in your situation, it confirmed it as far as like, well, yeah, I am worthless. Like, I'm not worthy of the things
Mhm.
that I'm over here trying to obtain. But really, what you had to figure out was you knowing your worth, you spending time with yourself. And you said something so vital, which is what I want to go into really quick, is knowing your values.
Yes.
Knowing your values and what's important. A lot of us value, right, other people's opinions about us. A lot of us value, um, just people in relationships and family and jobs in general. But
Mhm.
really what your values are your set core principles that grounds you, like that helps you work towards your goals, that helps really just align you with people and environments that also complement what you value. So for
Mhm.
example, like I value my spirituality, I value like knowledge, I value stability, I value like you see the difference between I value
Right.
versus like I value what that person values because
Yes. I was
right?
thinking this, like, what we value, what other people value, and we
Yeah.
value what other people tell us
Mhm.
to
To
value.
value.
I think
Yes.
that has been my experience as well of,
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
yeah, everyone says this is what you should do. Therefore, this is what is supposed to be
Yeah.
important to you. And
Mhm.
you know what is crazy is that at sometimes you'll find that when you veer off and you figure out things for yourself, you don't have people in your corner as
That
much.
part.
And
That's
so it
true.
takes a level of confidence in yourself to say, yeah, no, this is what it is for me.
Yep.
And that's enough for
That's
me.
enough. Yeah.
And
And you gotta be comfortable with that. Like,
yeah.
and that's the thing. That's another thing. We value relationships, right?
Hmm.
And so we're going to compromise ourselves to keep that relationship because we don't want to
Mhm.
lose it. Because choosing us, oftentimes we end up losing relationships. But that's honestly okay because now you're
Yeah.
losing the relationships that no longer serve you because you're
Right.
finally choosing who you are. That's how you cultivate the life and surroundings that you deserve to flourish in. Like,
Mhm.
how, if you're choosing them over you, you're never going to really be as happy as you should be because you prioritize their opinion, their feelings, their mindset, their values over yours, which leads me to the third part that I have noted is setting boundaries to protect your values.
Mm,
And
mhm.
that's honestly a big conversation to have
Yep.
because boundaries are there to protect you and your values, and they're there for you to maneuver like manage relationships in your life
Mhm.
because it tells the person or situation like what you want and what you don't want. And so what I've learned is, which I don't know if you know, there's like three types of boundary styles, which is
Mhm.
like porous, rigid, and healthy, right? We talk
Mhm.
about that so much in therapy of like, what are your boundaries and how do you know where you stand? And I noticed, like, for me, I had porous boundaries. Like, I valued the opinions of others. I valued I didn't feel comfortable saying no. Like I didn't want to say no. I communicate passively. Like I would overshare. Like if I have to say no, I'm like, well, I can't do this because of this, and that. Like when you care and value yourself and prioritize yourself, you're
Mhm.
just like, it's a no.
That's it,
I'm okay.
period.
Oh, you don't
Nope.
wanna talk to me
No, thank
anymore?
you.
Okay, it's fine. Like, just that energy, like, that
Yeah.
sense of peace and knowing, like, I know what I'm protecting now. I know what I value now. I value myself even more than anything. I value the relationship with myself even more than anything, and that is huge. Like you said, it does bring you to a space where you are alone, but then we learn spiritually, like, that's a good thing because God likes
Mhm.
you in isolation because then you're calling onto him, you're leaning onto
Yeah.
him, you're seeking him because you can't withstand that by yourself. You're not meant to withstand the trials by yourself. You're meant to
Mhm.
call on him to help you and then meditate on his word to guide you into what
Right.
you're meant to walk into or who you're meant to be around and where you're meant to work and all those things. Like if you don't spend that time trying to figure that out, you'll always drive yourself crazy because again, you're chasing people and situations that are limited in their own understanding as well. You don't
Yeah.
know their walk with God. You don't know what
Mhm.
it looks like for them. So figure it out for yourself and
Yeah.
value your own opinion. Value
Right.
protecting your own worth. Like we don't be scared. You're not going to be alone for the rest of your life. You may just be alone in this season, but
Mhm.
how else are you supposed to learn the greatest love? How else are you supposed to find out what freedom feels like when you get a space where you come undone and cry and be angry and it's just you? Like I
Yeah.
was just thinking this morning how when I started falling in love with myself, I was dancing in my apartment, like just
The best.
dancing
I'll
and
be doing that too, girl, all the
smiling,
time.
not caring what like if somebody was looking at me because I'm very like
Right.
who's looking at me or whatever.
Yeah.
I had to let go in that moment and give myself permission to no, you can still dance on your own. You
Mhm.
could sing
Mhm.
on your own. You can cry. It's the idea that someone got to be there for you to do these things. Why are you
Mm.
crying? Who made you
Mhm.
cry? No,
Mhm.
I made myself cry because I'm in relationship with myself because I'm sad right now because we did something today that we weren't supposed to do and we did it. And like
Yeah.
it's just a
Yeah.
journey. So when you think
Yeah.
of relationship with self, you're not exempt from going through the hard that you went through with other people because
Mhm.
now what was that Ayana video going around, which was so powerful? And when she helped this woman literally like heal in front of everybody, and she was on this mic, and the lady was like, "I'm so afraid of being alone," and Ayana was like, "It's so funny how we're so afraid to be alone, and yet we want people to be alone with us. Like we don't even want
Oh,
to be alone with us." I was like, "You better
mercy.
preach!" Yes, I was like, "That is." So much facts.
Mm.
I'm so excited for that.
Mhm.
Oop, done,
Yeah.
knocked the mic over. But when she said that, she's right. She was like,
Yeah.
we don't even want to be alone with ourselves, but we expect other people to be alone with us.
Yeah.
When I said that hit.
That okay, you know what? I was talking to my aunt yesterday, and she was telling me when God made you, He
Mhm.
made you so intentionally. There is no one else on this earth like you. No
Right.
one has the characteristics and the personality traits that you have. No one sees the world the way that you do, right?
No, at all.
And how beautiful is it that the world is filled of billions of unique persons like that. So
Mhm.
why are we always trying to have everybody like conform
Yeah.
into something that looks the same? Like,
Right.
A, that's boring, but B, like what we're in a lot of ways by trying to like mold into whatever pressure or standard there
Mhm.
is, we are stifling ourselves.
We
We're
are.
stifling our truest self. And so hearing you talk about knowing who you are and being confident in that, I think we really have to be um aware again of like all of the unique traits that we have, not
Mhm.
just know them, but fully accept them as they are,
Yeah.
and accept
Yeah.
ourselves as we are, and not look at it as like, oh, we're not like this person, but more like, I'm me and
Yeah, and that's
and that's great.
enough.
That's
Yeah,
enough.
it's enough. Like, why
Yes.
do we you're so right. Like, why do we have to which honestly, I mean, that's how we were taught. That's how we
Yeah.
compared. Like, that's
Yeah.
how and I think we had that conversation of always being compared
Mhm.
to someone in some situation, which put a lot of pressure on
Yeah.
ourselves, which is
Yeah.
not okay. So,
Yeah.
I think that that's an important conversation to have is like making ourselves enough. But we don't know that we have that power. We don't know that we have that permission to
Mhm.
make ourselves enough. Be
Mhm.
comfortable. Like I said last, I'm like, I'm okay with who I am now. If you're not, that's on you. I'm okay with
Right.
who I am. And I'm okay with losing what I need to lose to keep who I am because I'm all I
Mm.
have at the end of the day. Me
Period.
and my relationship with God. And
Okay.
that's enough. That's
Yeah.
enough. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think like you said, give yourself permission for that.
Mhm. Okay, so you mentioned, focusing on becoming as one of those steps of self-love, and I mean, I see you on your Michelle Obama, okay? Tell us how
Thank
how
you.
you did
That's a
that.
compliment there.
Every time I hear becoming, I think of Michelle
So,
Obama.
no, for real, I didn't even think about that, but, so what happened was I once I made the decision to choose me, I started looking into ways on like how do I do that? Like, right, I chose me, like how do I work on myself? And I didn't want to do like the whole like when I think of self-care, I think of external. So I wanted to
Mm.
be intentional with doing soul care, which is working on the inside of me. And so I like found this book on Amazon called it was like a 12 it is a 12-month challenge guide called Becoming Her. And it
Ooh.
was a 2022 journal and planner, yeah, that really had me sit down and like
Mm.
challenge myself, help me declutter my mind and set goals and intentions for that year of 2022. So, like I said, that's when everything changed and it's a thick, like I have it, I could probably like show it really quick. I kept it because what I'm also doing is, so this is it, the Becoming Her on Amazon. This is the 2022
Ooh.
edition.
I love
And
it.
what I do now is it's really amazing. What I do now because I was also journaling around that time. I did not buy another one. I thought about doing that, but it was a lot of work that I was like, okay, so how can you maximize on your growth, right? How do you
Mhm.
become all the things that you've been working on? So I'm literally reading like 2022 and 2023. So like today's date is what? March 26th. So I'll go
Mhm.
to March 26th and read where was I? How was I feeling?
Wow.
What was I doing? And seeing how can I maximize on that growth? I know, right? That is like true relationship with self. Reading my
Mm.
journal entries dated last year. Where was I a year ago today? How was I feeling? And how can I maximize that? What do
Mhm.
like, and to see my growth, it's the greatest thing because then I validate me. I'm giving myself credit. I'm expressing gratitude. I'm saying, you go, girl. I'm so proud of you. Look at where you were and look at where you are today. And what do you need to do to continue on this journey?
Mhm.
So
You know
that is
what?
something that I did.
Mhm.
Right. What are you
Oh,
gonna say? Go ahead, say it.
okay. Well, what this made me think about is how
Mhm.
intentional you were
Yeah,
with becoming. And I
yeah.
thought about, when we are dating, there is so much
Mhm.
intention with whoever that person
Mhm.
is. We are
Mhm.
getting to know them. We want to make sure that we know the things that they like and that they don't like. And then
Mhm.
we're creating spaces and
Mhm.
experiences for them based on what we know about them. And we're like, really,
Yeah.
especially in the beginning, when you just meet somebody and it's like everything is just like fresh, you are doing the most. Okay. You're putting in all of the work to try to to
Yep.
get with them. And the
Yep.
thing
That's true.
about it is like we don't do that with ourselves.
We
We are
don't.
not intentional about dating ourselves really.
Yep.
And that's what that told
Exactly.
me. It's like you have to
Mhm.
be intentional about getting to know what you like and know
Yep.
what you don't like. Um
Exactly.
and just know yourself at a deeper level, and I think, like,
Mhm.
that kind of really just ties it all together because w
Yeah.
and everything that we're talking about, getting, the self-love and the self-worth, it all comes
Mhm.
down to knowing who you are
Yeah.
and being the most authentic version of yourself, but you just can't do that unless you put intention behind it, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, because I said to myself around that time, like, I aspire to see me how God sees me, you know? I want to
Um,
be because, you know, when the world doesn't validate you, God does. And
yes.
so I wanted to be, like you said, intentional with sitting down and creating that space to find out, like, what is it about me? Like, I used to feel bad about being sensitive, and God gave me the greatest gift to be
Mm,
sensitive, right? Because I'm looked at all the ways my sensitivity has greatly impacted this world and even myself. I turned that into a strength and not a weakness anymore.
yes.
So there were things about myself that I was uncomfortable with that I had to sit down and say, well, what do I need to do and why is this bothering me and whose belief was this? Because I found out that a lot of the beliefs I carried was never even mine. It
Right?
was what was spoken over me, what was said to me, because again, I valued what other people said over my
Mhm.
own feelings and my own opinions. So yeah, I had to sit down and so that's what I was trying to figure out this year. I was like, so you did all this last year. What are you going to do this year? And so I also wanted to grow my relationship with God and I bought this book also from Shanita well, I said her name absolutely Shantia. Forgive me. Coleman. Um Wake Up Girl and Push Through. And this
Mm.
book I bought like I want to say it was either the end of 2021. And I'm actually reading it again because it really taught me how to pray. And I really
Mhm.
wanted to wake up in the morning, spend time with God, which spend time with me, and that goes along with what we were sharing is like focusing on becoming.
Yeah.
And it was more of like not just becoming her, but like unlearning the things and getting lost in my becoming, like getting comfortable in my becoming and not
Mhm.
feeling bad for my becoming. Because there's this thing where you understand something and you feel like you have to just be there. And no, like you're becoming, that this is where you aspire, like
Mm.
you have the direction, but like just keep taking one step at a time. What do you want to say? I see it. What
Yes,
happened?
but I
What
wanna
happened?
wait for
Come
you to
on.
finish your statement.
I'm ready. Yeah, go ahead. I want to
But
bring it in.
what okay, because what I'm thinking about is the ing, becoming, and not
Mhm.
the results. I'm somebody
Mhm.
who it's like, I wanna just be at
You
the
caught
result.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it.
Yes, I want to get to the end, get to the result. I
Yeah.
remember when I just got divorced in the beginning, I would tell my therapist, "I hate this. Can I just like fast forward to the part where I'm good again? Like, what is
Right.
this?"
Yeah.
And even, oh my gosh, I was even having a conversation last week about the like moving on and
Mhm.
versus moved on. I have moved on.
Mm.
And, my friend was saying, I don't know that there is like a finality, like that it's
Yeah.
just like you've moved on and that's it. Like, I think it's a
Yeah.
process and
Mhm.
knowing that this is the process and that it's
Mhm.
okay to be in process and that you don't have to just work on the final product, but like we are doing this because that means
Mhm.
it's a constant growth. It's a
Yeah,
constant work, and it doesn't
yeah,
have to be work either, but it's like a constant that's what life is. Like
yeah, just
you
embrace it.
yeah.
Embrace
I,
the
I'm
relationship.
trying to embrace the ing these days
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I'm trying to I'm usually at the like the final,
mhm,
and
yeah,
I think it's beautiful that you even were able to like go back
mhm,
and figure out, okay, what do I want to do now as this
mhm,
continued journey and not
yeah,
just like I have reached at the destination, which
right,
again, like that's even the point of this podcast. Like this
yeah,
is the journey
yeah,
that we are on together. We haven't gotten there yet, and that's okay. And like
yeah,
normalizing it and being okay with the fact that we're walking um
right, right.
to get to the next place that we need to be,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Becoming is a lifestyle. We have to there's a
Yes.
lot of things we have to embrace as a lifestyle. When I think of lifestyle, it just alleviates the pressure of having to
Yeah.
obtain something, right then and there. It's just get comfortable. Kick your feet up and just like know that like even with mental health, it is a
Yes.
lifestyle. Like even as a clinician, like we don't get exempt. We got to do the work too every
Mhm.
day. The work is done because we're human. We're all human.
Yes.
It is a lifestyle. All that we're doing is a lifestyle. I think one of the main phrases that are going around today is when I hear a reference towards things, I'm constantly hearing that it's a marathon, not a sprint. It's a
Mhm.
marathon, not a sprint. So it's like enjoying that marathon, relaxing, and just knowing like you will continue to get there. Like I don't know who made this false illusion that once you get there, that's it. There's a maintenance stage. Like you think about the stages of
True.
change.
True.
Maintenance. You
Yeah.
still have to put in work for maintenance. Like you
Yeah.
don't just go to the gym and be like, "Yeah, I look good. I'm great." No, maintenance. Like mental health. You don't just learn the skills and be like, "I'm
Mhm.
healed." Maintenance because you
Mm.
don't forget. You and even in the Bible, I want to read like how many times I hear remember, remember, remember me, remember me, remember me. That's why God repeats that so much because we can
Yes.
get so caught up in what we're doing that we're trying to like reach this end goal. And it's like, even when you get there, remember me. Even and so that's what that was for me. Like, even when I get there, remember the things and where I was, because
Mhm.
when we forget where we come from, we act a little different. And I don't want to do that. I want to
Mhm.
remember like what brought me to this point. Where was I? And because at first I was like, do I get rid of this book? I did all this work. I wrote all these things. Do
Mhm.
I get rid of that? No, spend time with it. That's being in relationship with you. Finding out who
Yes.
you were because we change,
Mhm.
we
Mhm.
grow. And I
And we need
think
to
it's so
normalize the changing and the growing.
normalizing. Yeah,
'Cause,
embracing that.
like, you know how people are like, "Oh, you change," and it's always in this, like, negative
Mhm.
connotation, but, like,
Yeah.
we're supposed to change, we're supposed to
Yeah.
grow. We're not
Yeah.
supposed to be the same person that we were 10 years ago,
Yep.
I don't wanna be that person. So I
Me
think that's
neither.
really yeah, okay. So
Yeah. And
yeah.
and honestly, like if somebody says to you, which we'll go more into it in part two, which one of the titles is Embrace Change in All Forms. I
Mhm.
noticed like when people change and I would hear someone say like, God, like I miss the old version of you, right?
Wow.
And it's like, do you know what you're saying? Like, do you know what that means? To me, to miss the old version of me. Like, because
Mhm.
even for me, I found myself saying, like, God, I miss how you were. But then I had to
Hmm.
remember, like,
Wow.
but how you were also caused A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Hmm.
And it did not work because you were also HIJK And then and
Right.
then when you tried QRSTUV, I probably missed some letters there. And then, like I also had to realize, like, stop saying that. Like,
Yeah.
you're okay. And it's a form of like nostalgia that we experience when
Mhm.
things were
Mhm.
just what we
Well,
what
I
we
think
think.
we romanticize the past
Yeah.
too, right? Like
Mhm.
I remember we when I used to work again with eating disorders, we used to have a conversation all the time because we're working on recovery from eating disorders.
Mhm.
And my clients used to tell me, yeah, but when I was at X weight, like I was so happy, like everything was going so great,
Like, were you
And it's
though?
like, yeah, actually, you were not happy. You were isolated from your family because you spent every waking
Mhm.
moment focused on what you're going to eat, working out,
Mhm.
and you never were present in your life. You lost out on certain opportunities because you were fixated on this thing. You
Yeah.
were not happy when you
Yeah.
were doing this. And I think like the past sometimes is romanticized because it's about there and we
Yeah.
can't go back. There is
No.
a level of accountability with the present and the now, kind of like
Mhm.
what we were talking about last time. And so I think um that maintenance, like you were saying, it's like if we're
Mhm.
out here in the present now and we're trying to maintain whatever new version of ourselves and like really like you said have it as a lifestyle, that
Right.
is going to require self-discipline and
Yeah.
accountability. That is hard to do. And I
That
think
is
about
so
again,
hard.
think about eating disorders as well.
Yeah.
Everything is just like tied to that, that's where my brain is, because like when they're in recovery, we always talk too about recovered versus recovery. You're
Mhm.
never going to be recovered. You are
Mhm.
only going to be in sustained recovery,
Mhm.
hopefully. That's the goal, right? Because you're always going to have these struggles. Things are always going to come up, and that's something I'm
Yeah.
reminding myself of now because I was telling you earlier, I had all these breakdowns in the week, especially last night, and I was like, why is this still happening? But really, I uh, what I learned is, hey, this is happening because this is life. This is just what happens.
It
And that is
is.
okay. It's okay that you're still struggling with XYZ because this is life,
This is life, and
you
we
know?
didn't know that, like,
Yeah.
I don't know how we were supposed to, but we didn't understand that it is a part of life, it is okay, and that's what I had to release. I had to release that there's some end goal. Like,
Hmm.
I don't seek the end goal anymore, I just seek being.
The
I just wanna be.
process, the
Yeah, the
journey.
process, the journey,
Yeah.
all of that, like, it's a part.
Oh, sorry.
Nope, come
You
on.
just said
Come
be. You just said being. That part. That part
No, I'm
again.
inviting you in. Anytime I hear something like that,
Okay.
come on, let's go. The energy
Okay.
is
No,
going right now.
because that being, to
Mhm.
be means to
Mhm.
be still with
Mhm.
who
There we
you are
go. I
in
knew
this
it.
moment, to be mindful, to be present,
Yes.
and we don't wanna be present. We
So much
being
power
present
there.
brings about pain.
Yeah, it
In my
does.
cries too, I was like, "I don't wanna feel this, Lord. I don't wanna feel
Mhm.
this pain. I wanna get to the next part when I'm okay. I don't wanna feel
Yeah.
this." But the thing is, there is beauty in the being, in the
Being.
current, in the
Yeah.
present,
Mhm.
because you are able to work through whatever it is, feel, really
Mhm.
connect to yourself, and
Mhm.
just be a human. And I think I always had such a hard time with just being human. I thought I was like a superhero or something. And it's like the
We
moment
all
that
did,
I
girl.
right, right. The
It's so true.
moment yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. The moment I was like, "You know what? No, I'm just gonna be, and
Mhm.
that's okay."
It's
Um,
okay.
that's I think when the freedom
Mhm.
comes, where the freedom comes, you know what
Mhm.
I mean?
The
And
greatest freedom
you know
ever
what is
known.
interesting? Someone posted the other day too, something along the lines of like, when you are in a safe environment,
Mhm.
that is when you're exhausted all the time, and that is when
Mhm.
you feel really tired, and the post said that
True.
because you're in a sense of survival mode, you're, like, going, 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 you don't have time to
Mhm.
stop, and so when you're finally safe, emotionally safe to
Mhm.
be, to
Mhm.
just be with wherever you're at, you feel
Mhm.
tired because all the emotions, all of the everything have can finally come out, and it's overwhelming. It's a lot, and I feel that.
Mhm.
I've been tired. And you know what is the beauty
Yeah.
of that is that I've been tired, but I've also been safe with myself
Mhm.
because I'm by myself. No one
Mhm.
else is here. I'm with
Yep.
God,
Mhm.
obviously, but there is a safety in solidarity, I guess.
There is. Yeah.
And like you were saying earlier about that singleness, when you are
Mhm.
single and you have that space to be by yourself, like it is beautiful.
It
It is
is.
unlike
It is
anything
a
you'll ever
blessing.
have. It is a blessing. And so I
Yeah.
think like this just came to me right now in this moment. I have just
Mm.
come to this conclusion
Thank
right
God for
now.
revelation. Let's go.
Revelations. This is a beautiful time.
Yes.
I'm going to embrace all the tears and all the exhaustion that's coming and know that that's an indication that things are actually headed in the direction they need to go.
Amen. Yeah.
Um,
Mm.
wow,
Yeah,
real
there's so
time.
much. Yeah.
This is what my therapy sessions look like, y'all.
Yeah. Listen, there's so much power in stillness.
Yes.
Like, I remember being so uncomfortable with that.
Mhm,
Now it's like, this is okay. Like, even in this moment, like, just take a moment, like, being still, like, just
mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And
You know
he
what
moves.
happened?
He
Yes,
moves.
God moves.
God moves.
Do
And
you know what happened to me last week?
what happened?
I so, after work, you decompress and, sometimes you watch
Mhm.
TV, whatever. And last week, I was telling my friend this morning this too. I could not. I was disturbed. Like the peace was
Mm.
gone. And all the things that I would do to decompress, nothing was helping. I just would sit there, I would turn on the TV, I would just be restless and I couldn't do it. And there were days last week, I think I maybe like 3 days out of the week last week, I turned off the TV and I just sat there and just stared at the wall and just
See?
like yeah, and I
Yeah.
just sat and then I cried and I journaled, but, like, I needed to do that though,
Yeah.
I needed to be
Yeah.
still, my spirit was perturbed because I needed to not be distracting all the time, that's what
Mhm.
I've been used to doing is distracting, and I've been in a place recently where, like, with the loss of my job and then, like, this new job,
Yeah.
I've had no other choice in some ways of being
Yeah.
still. And now I find myself just doing it anyways because like I need that stillness.
We do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's the creating space to come
Yeah.
undone. When you're always hearing, doing, feeling like sometimes it could just be silence of like, turn off the TV.
Mhm.
And the spirit is telling you, like, literally, it'll tug at
Yeah.
you and be like, you should turn off that TV and go grab your journal. You should turn off that TV and go grab the Bible. Like, it's so
Mhm.
loud within you. And when you attend to that,
Mhm.
you unload so much
Mhm.
that you didn't even
Mhm.
expect to unload, and so I think that I'm happy to hear that you had that because
Yeah.
that's a part of being in relationship with yourself. It's
Yes.
attending to your needs, paying attention to yourself, not ignoring.
Mhm.
Because typically what that would look like is you would ignore because you're in relationship with someone else. Mm.
Okay. Let me just say this because listen, I remember in the beginning of therapy as well.
Mhm.
I would tell my therapist after the divorce happened and everything, like in the beginning, I'd be like, I would be mad because I'm like, I had this
Mhm.
partner, he didn't even care about me.
Mm.
He didn't do this, this,
Oh,
this,
we
this,
about to
this,
go
right?
into it. Come on.
Girl, I mean,
Oh, it's here.
let me
It's
not bait
here.
out this
This is
man's
it.
ego. But I would be like, okay, I am upset because no one's here to take care of me
Mm.
now. Who's gonna take
Mm.
care of me? Like, I'm so mad because I gotta do this myself.
Mm.
And I was upset because I didn't have a partner. When I think about the relationship that I had, I was very bitter and angry because I realized like my partner wasn't there for me. My part and the problem was I was
Mhm.
relying on my partner to do what I needed to do for myself.
Yep.
And so now I'm alone and I'm telling my therapist, well, now I gotta do this myself. Now I gotta, I can't just who's gonna do this for me? And she's
Yeah,
like, but why can't you do this for yourself? Like,
yourself.
I don't want to do that. But why? Why can't someone
Yeah,
else do it? And I
that's
think,
that
yeah,
setup.
that is part of a problem. That's a part of the problem.
Yeah,
We don't want to meet our own needs.
and then we expect others, and when they don't, we get
Mhm.
upset.
We get
But
mad.
what I really wanna go into right now, oh, this is 'cause Imma be real, that's when I realized that I never was ready for a relationship because
Wow.
exactly what you just described. We expect other people to do the things,
Mhm.
but it's like, you're not even doing the things that you need to do for yourself. How dare
Right.
you? Like, that's what God I think I kind of uh that's what got revealed to me. I'm just
Wow.
gonna put that out there. It was the hardest thing, and I got emotional about it. I cried. I did
Mhm.
cry because I had it all wrong. And let me say this: I no longer, and this is one of my postings I've posted before, is like I just no longer blame myself for where I was when I was ignorant. Like, I was in an ignorant
Yes.
space. So I no longer
Yes.
blame myself for the decisions I made in those spaces and how
Mhm.
I operated because I did the best I could. And that's when I realized, like, just like my parents, they did the best they could. Like, I see what that
Mhm.
looks like now, being a human being and trying to maneuver this thing called life without the proper
Mhm.
guidance and the support. So when I saw, like, you're not even doing what you need to do for yourself. And here you
Right.
are placing these expectations on other people. What? Like that
Yeah.
blew my mind because I was like, ooh,
Mhm.
you're right. Like it's not them. And
No.
so I found myself sitting there saying, well, then how can I make this right? Usually we wait for the other person to say, how can I make this right with you?
Mhm. Mhm.
I had to say that to myself. I
Yeah.
had to start loving myself. I had to
Yes.
start showing up for myself. I had to start speaking to myself and hugging myself and telling myself the things that I needed to hear when we would expect someone in this moment to show up and say the things, right?
Mhm.
And I, for myself, was like, no, you were wrong. Now get up and do what you need to do to correct this.
Mm. Mhm.
Like that kind of love. And it's so
Wow.
uncomfortable when it's
Oh,
coming
yeah.
from you, but it's so good because that's what it looks like to be in relationship with yourself. Be real. Take
Mhm.
accountability. That's when I
Accountability.
became comfortable with taking accountability. I no longer feel bad because I'm being real with myself now. I'm
Mhm.
being raw with myself. I'm being open and vulnerable with myself. I get
Mhm.
to come undone with myself and I gave myself full permission to do and feel however I want to feel, even when it's the ugliest moment. I
Mhm.
don't care anymore. Do what I gotta do. Do what you gotta do. Are you mad? Yeah, I bet you are mad. Look at what, like, but it sounds hard. It
Yeah.
sounds hard, but I used
Yeah.
to get mad when other people did that to me. But I see
Mhm.
why, like I was uncomfortable with doing that to me. But then it's like, I'm so proud of you. Great
Mhm.
job. I love
Mhm.
you so much. You're so amazing. Look at how far you've come. Like
Yeah.
all the things, like, because when you're by yourself and you're in singleness, there's so much power in being able to enrich yourself in that manner, to affirm yourself
Yes.
in that manner. Because like when someone comes, that's a bonus. You
Exactly.
know?
It's just like an
Like
extra,
it's an
extra
extra. Like,
sauce.
thank
You already
you.
had
Like,
it though. You know what
oh,
I mean?
compliment me.
Tell
Like,
me. I already know,
yeah,
but
tell
tell
me
me
what.
again.
Yes, and that's where that boy, am I
Yeah.
damn say I'm pretty. I know.
Right.
Like
I
that's
know.
when you find out the I know and not feel
Mhm.
bad about knowing. Like
Yeah.
we should be allowed to be like, yeah, I know I
Mhm.
look good. Before you be like, oh, it's just something I
Stop.
picked. Yeah, you're like, it's not that serious. No, it is that serious. It
Yes.
is because then when you get home, you complain that somebody didn't tell you something, and when they did, you minimized it, which is also a
Mhm.
cognitive distortion, right?
Okay. Well, child, we doing therapy today.
We have a lot of them. We minimize the things. Like, stop
Yes.
minimizing. It's
You know
okay.
what? I think one of the reasons that I'm grateful for the divorce is
Mhm.
because I
Ooh, say that one more time.
mm, one of the reasons I am grateful
Mhm.
for my divorce
Mm.
is that opportunity to
Mhm.
give myself things I was relying on someone else to give me.
There you
I
go.
remember that my ex actually told me, "You're not that confident person I knew you to be. You used to be very confident and like you lost that. Like what happened?"
Mm.
I didn't have the verbiage at the time to say, "You happened, honey." But really it was me. It was me that happened.
See?
What I mean by
Wow.
that is I had a confidence before that was based on
Mhm.
me, knowing what I valued, kind of all those things. I had that self love, but I transferred it to him, and I put all that
Mhm.
pressure on him to give me all of the
Mhm.
things, right? And then
Right. You gave it away,
I gave it
honey.
away.
You
I gave
gave
it
it
away,
away.
and so then what happens is I don't have the
Mm.
I don't have that anymore, and so he's even seeing it in me, because I've given him that light. I remember my best friend told me, "Yeah, I saw the light drain out of you for a while."
Mhm.
When I told her about the divorce, she's like, "Yeah,
Wow.
I've seen it. I've seen it go away from you." And I didn't even know. I didn't even know because I gave what should have been mine to him. And I'm
Mm.
grateful for the opportunity to get that back because I don't think I would have gotten it in there. I mean, I've said this
Yeah.
before, but like my mental health was going all the way down in this marriage. And
Mhm.
it's not just a him thing, my ex thing. It was both, you know?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so um to be able to recognize that and know that I have the opportunity to change it,
Yeah.
to love myself
Yeah.
again, there's nothing like it, truly.
There's so many narratives to change.
Yeah.
I love everything about what you just said, what you just shared.
Yes.
Like, I am my heart is so filled
Yeah.
in this moment for you because it's like
Aw.
the bigger picture. You remember I say it's always bigger. It's always bigger.
Yes.
What you gain, it was never a loss. At one point, you
Mhm.
were operating
Never.
from a space of loss. I lost. I
Mhm.
lost. I failed. I'm not worthy. All those things. And then look at how much you're gaining. Like, honestly,
My brain is like, "It's not that serious, but let me take it in.
see,
Let
there
me
it
take
is.
it
Because it
in."
is that serious.
It is that
It is that
serious.
serious. It is that
Mhm.
big. You've
Mhm.
been I'm not gonna do it to you right now. I see what's happening. I'm not gonna do it.
You gonna make me cry.
I
It's okay.
know.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Because it is,
Crying is
right? There we
okay.
go, minimizing. It's
Yeah.
okay, but I'm so
Yeah.
proud of you once
Thank
again.
you.
Yeah. Oh,
Thank you. I'm proud of
I
you
don't
too.
think
Look at us.
I
Who'd have
know.
thought? Look at
Oh,
us.
look, blushing and stuff, like, just and honestly, guys, I'm not gonna sit here and we're not I hope you guys are not thinking like, "Oh, this is it's just that it's not. I
Oh,
hope you guys are hearing the
no.
hard in this journey, the ups and downs that comes with it. So, um,
Mhm.
just be patient, give yourself grace.
Yeah.
And I don't know, because I honestly feel like we're at a good space that I'm ready to wrap this
Wrap it up.
and
We're gonna
keep the
wrap it
rest
up.
and keep the
Yes.
rest for the next part. So
Yes.
your favorite question of the day, I think that's gonna help bring this all together.
Mhm. Well,
Mhm.
before we get into that, I just wanna add in there right before that, you know, it is hard. I wanna
Yeah,
just reiterate that. Actually, I
yeah.
was talking to my aunt, my same aunt who was telling me all these amazing things yesterday. She also said to me, "It took me years. This self-love journey took me years to
Mm.
get here." It wasn't until, like, a few
Wow.
years ago, she's, like, in her 40s at this time, like, it
Yeah.
took me a long time. It's not easy, but it's worth it.
It's so
It's
worth
worth
it.
it, and so, remember, y'all, I said last
Mhm.
night I was crying my eyes out, so
Mhm.
we're on the journey, so it is still hard. I was crying again today this morning, but that's okay, like,
Mhm.
that's okay.
Yeah.
So, I just wanna leave it there. Let's get into our favorite question,
Yes.
though. To
Yes.
wrap it all up,
Yes.
what has God taught you this week, Mel?
Mm. God taught me that even with understanding, it's still a process.
Mm,
I This past week was a hard week for me spiritually.
mm,
And I thought because of the things I understood that I had to show up today. And I had a friend that helped me put verbiage to it. And I heard you even say it within today's session. And it's I'm not there yet, and it's okay.
yeah,
Um, just keep showing up and don't quit, don't stop, and stop being hard on yourself because it is a process. And I
mhm,
don't know where I'm meant to be, but there's just things that I embrace with this journey that it's it's hard because I know I'm like trying not to say too much, but it's okay. Like, it's not something I have to figure out today, and I just wanna
mhm,
start with what I know, and what I know is enough. what I
Yeah.
know today is enough, and I feel good in that. And since then, I
Mhm.
felt much better. I feel more at peace again. I feel like I'm back where um, I started,
Yeah.
like, it's like I never fell off, but I had a moment where I fell off and I was like
Mhm.
and it's just me by myself, once again, me by myself, but that's how
Mhm.
hard it is that you have those moments where you fall off and you have to pick yourself back up. So God, allowed me a space to be like, "It's okay, like, you're still trying to figure things out, and that's
Yeah.
okay."
I love that. I'm in that process too myself, like,
Mhm.
beauty in the process,
Yeah.
in that journey. And God is with us in the
Mhm.
journey. Like, he doesn't leave us when we didn't figure it out. In fact, we need him more than ever in those times.
Yeah.
So I really love that.
Thank
For
you.
me, you're welcome. I think God has taught me everything. I just shared honestly today. But one other thing I'll add is timing. His
Mhm.
timing is perfect.
Mhm.
And I've said this before in many episodes before, but I've seen it this week more than ever. I think, well, first of all, I think I need a reminder of it this
Yeah.
week because I think certain things happen. I mentioned in the last episode with you that
Mhm.
I had this, like, amazing week, like, 2 weeks ago, oh my gosh, I had the amazing, most just, like, all these revelations come up, and I felt at peace, and it was so good. And then
Mhm.
last week was just the opposite. I had no peace, I felt
Mhm.
disturbed, I felt like, "How why did I just have this, like, amazing time, and then all of a sudden, like, what is going on here?"
I know.
Yeah, I really was
I don't
questioning a lot of
understand that.
things, and my friend reminded me
Mhm.
just because things are happening the way they are right now doesn't mean God's timing is still not perfect. God's timing was perfect
Mhm.
when he provided that money to pay those bills.
Mhm.
Timing was perfect when you lost your job and then you got another
Mhm.
one.
That
His
part.
timing has always been perfect. And so it is still perfect, even though at this time I can't see it. I don't have the puzzle. I don't
Yeah.
know what the puzzle is going to look like yet. God's timing is still
Yeah.
perfect. And so I'm holding on to that
Yes.
because I need it. I need that reminder
Mhm.
right now. And I just want to share that too as a reminder for y'all. God's
Yeah.
timing is perfection always, never changes.
Always, always. Look how much
Yeah.
has been revealed in just a short amount of time for you. Like, look
Okay.
like,
The
I
Lord
know your
has been
mind.
doing a work. I'm blown away. When I sit and think about it too much, I'm going to bawl my eyes out
Yeah.
because it almost doesn't make sense
Yeah.
how many
On
things are
time. Yeah.
happening. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
What did
Yeah.
I hear that one time? God is a 11:59 kinda God.
Oh, yes. Always,
He
always.
is, and that's what every situation I think
Every
about mine too.
time.
Every time you be like, "Anytime now?"
Right?
Like,
Okay,
"Come
at
on."
11:59, here it is.
No,
True.
we're not there yet. But in those moments, that is when you say to yourself, "There's still more. I'm
Yeah.
stronger than I think I am.
Mhm,
I'm strong."
mhm.
That's the message I get. "You're
Yes.
stronger than you think you are." "Oh, okay. So we not there yet? Okay, keep going.
Yeah, keep
Keep go"
on,
like,
keep on.
"Come on,
Yes.
big dog, let's go. Rawr."
Oh my gosh. Well,
So,
Mel, this has been amazing.
yes,
Obviously,
same.
once again, like, I'm not surprised. I thoroughly enjoyed this. And
Thank you.
y'all, there's gonna be part 2, so
Part
have
2?
no fear. We're gonna be
Mhm,
back, okay, back with Mel and
mhm,
continuing to talk about the self-love journey, how we can get there. So stay
mhm.
tuned, y'all. Thank you,
Yeah.
Mel, once
Thank you.
again. And until next time, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.